Tom Cruise not growing up, but like being a young actor, I guess, lived right down the street from Spielberg and would just have dinner with Spielberg. Just
casual.
Gonna go to Spielberg's for some meatball subs, I guess, and then hang out and watch movies. I just made up the food part. I don't know.
Wait.
He seems like a meatball sub guy, Spielberg, doesn't he?
If you go to Spielberg's house, what kind of food would you be surprised to see? Like, hey, come over for dinner. And you're like, world famous director.
Turducken. We're having turducken.
No, that's fancy. I would think that's fancy.
Turducken's fancy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hard to make.
Isn't that just a meat wrapped in a meat?
Yeah.
Okay.
And another meat.
Fancy meats.
They're like folded into each other and it takes forever to bake. I'm thinking like
gross.
You show up and it's
Wawa hoagies.
I was going to say hamburger helper.
I had these made for us. Like, I think anybody can have those made.
I brought the entire menu from Burger King.
YUNKJunk!
Good evening, sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the Geek Nation. And thank you for tuning into what I'm told is one of the longest running comic book and pop culture podcasts ever. The CultPop Podcast, episode 107. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to join us tonight for our first installment of Missions Probable, a limited series event where we will be exploring and reviewing each Mission Impossible film, all leading up to next May's 8th and final-ish entry into the franchise. We're coming to you live from YUNKJunk, HQ.
YUNKJunk.
I believe it's a bomb-ass podcasting space in Philadelphia, PA.
So I've heard.
I'm your host for this evening, Noel, joined by JD of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located
at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA 19127. It's a rad-ass comic shop that caters to rad-ass folks just like you. So get into my rad-ass shop, buy my rad-ass shit, and give me your rad-ass money. Love you, bye.
You can get
in addition,
rad-ass shirt.
Oh, and a rad-ass shirt.
That
That's
is a
right.
rad-ass shirt from your rad-ass shop.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to being a retailer, JD also brings his expertise in spycraft and tech wizardry to this conversation. Thank you for joining us tonight, JD.
Finally, I get to...
These skills that you have honestly wouldn't shut the fuck up about for years. Yeah. We're going to express them.
Finally.
Also with us tonight is Alice of Inside the Morgue fame. Hi, Alice.
Hi.
How you doing? What many of you do not know, and what makes her uniquely qualified to discuss the Mission Impossible franchise, is her mastery of disguise, as well as a global ranking in 12 different competitive fighting styles. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here with us tonight.
Can you name all 12?
Nope.
Okay.
Not even going to attempt it.
That means you would be lying, so don't worry about it.
Thank you.
Also with us tonight in the booth is our trusty producer, Not Dylan. Not Dylan, if anyone's watching or listening wants to know more about YUNKJunk HQ, the space and services, what could they potentially do? Which is email. What is it? Dylan at YUNKJunk.com?
That sounds right.
The graphics I usually put up are not working, so it's Dylan at YUNKJunk.com.
Yeah, Dylan at YUNKJunk.com. No worries. We're going to move on. But yes, now that we've level set, as noted, tonight we're going to be we're going to dig deep into the 1996 blockbuster that is Mission Impossible. But before we do that, a gentle reminder that if you're here live, feel free to comment and like, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you know when we go live and add new content. Chime in, talk. Let's do some back and forth. We like to pop in. Let's get in here.
Box.
Yes, please.
If you're watching later, do that stuff also. Believe it or not, we get notifications when people comment on things, and we will respond.
And I am delighted every time I get a notification. Ooh. And I'll send it to them like, look, someone's making fun of me. Look at this.
What were you?
A lot of hate comments.
You were a femboy once, or
we are both femboys. We got a 1-star review on iTunes. Listen, this is before you.
I'm not
this is before you joined. I got a 1-star review on iTunes, and it said 2 of the 3 men ? Are femboys. Shake my head. And then not only did he do that 2 years ago, my man did that 2 years ago, and I remember his name just because it was a weird name. And he continues to comment on our YouTube channels. Like he's commenting 2 years later.
Let's keep that engagement up.
Yeah.
Rage bait.
So yeah, back and forth. If you don't want to chime in the chat, just you can email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. And join the conversation. We've got many more shows coming up in the new year.
Yeah, we do.
But before that, we want to talk about correspondence.
Also,
that was lovely.
One of our favorite listeners, Carl's in Tasmania, sent us a care package.
Yes. Well, I don't know if it was I don't know how much care went in.
Oh, wow.
I'm kidding. There's lots of care.
Oh, wow.
And I care a lot about how much care he put into it. So I got this box at the comic shop.
What's his address?
What the? Oh, here we go. Carl, here's your address. And I didn't know what it was, but I saw from whence it came, which was Australia. And I said, I know who this is fromst. So we got a lovely little care package. I don't know if we care package.
I haven't even seen it.
It came with a corresponding note.
Oh,
so I'll read the top chunk and then he spoils, right?
Right.
Merry Christmas! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. I know that I said I was going to send this out a while back, but I decided to hold out and send it out as a Christmas present for you all. Originally, I was going to send you a copy of Necrotronic, but I think that you can watch it on Prime, so I decided it was pointless for me to even think about doing so. That is a movie that Carl requested. Again, if you want to request us review something, email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, I've sent you each a present, as well as some snacks and DC figures that I promised forever ago. I hope that you have fun putting them together. I also have included 3 separate envelopes for Len, Randy, and Brian, and that contain some DC characters that I know they would like. You don't have to give them. You don't have to give them to them if you don't want to. But I thought it'd be cool to send them as well. So I will pause there and let's go through some of these because he spoils the.
I'm gonna cry. This is so sweet.
I don't know what these are, but they're little. I don't know. Here, they're little DC figures that you pop out.
Yeah, they're like.
How do you pop them out?
They're like paper figures.
Oh my
they're
god!
Like little cardboard Johns, and then you can make little standy boys.
Connect the front of the head and the back of the head and the front of the body.
They're like Batman and Cyborg and I guess Catwoman. Reverse Flash. Nice. So we got a 7,000 of these.
Can I have
That's
one?
pretty cool.
Just to like put together.
So another thing about me, besides not liking things in a chill way, I love a knickknack. I love a little. My desk at work it's a joke at work. Like I love a knickknack.
She also loves a paddywhack and occasionally giving a dog a bone.
I do. I do.
We also got Jumpies. Jumpies, crispy snacks. These are salt and vinegar flavored. Who wants them? Salt and vinegar?
I do love salt and vinegar.
Oh.
And then these are Jumpies original salted.
If we do another movie night,
I'm gonna bring disgusting snacks.
And I'm gonna get the chicken flavored Jumpies. All right.
If we do a movie night and you walk into my house with salt and vinegar or anything, you'll walk right out of my house. With that salt and vinegar.
No,
yes.
Merry Christmas.
Hey!
Alice.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
The cover of one of the packages actually has like directions. The directions
I
are
might
on
need
these.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, they're little.
Yeah, they're like little puffy crackers, right?
Kangaroos.
I gotta try a chicken.
Chicken? It smells like chicken. It smells like a chicken flavored kangaroo.
These are well-formed little puffs.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't get these in America.
Oh my god.
Oh, that is.
Yo, it tastes like
crunchy.
ramen. It tastes like ramen powder.
It is ramen powder.
Those are delightful.
Do you like salt and vinegar?
I love salt and vinegar. When I was in a band, I used to have to eat salt and vinegar all the time.
When I was in a band, I called it salt and vinegar.
Good for your throat, singing voice.
Oh.
The presents I have chosen for each of you were based off of what you like and a desire to expose you to Australian music. JD, I've given you something I think you like. Open it.
This is really touching my heart. This is really nice.
Carl is all about.
Holy
shit!
What is it?
It's the gate.
Shut up!
He got me the gate.
Let me see.
Camera 3, whatever. God damn it. Okay, for anyone who doesn't know, The Gate is one of my all-time favorite early 80s childhood. What would you call it? Bridge horror movies?
This is the 2-film collection.
Yeah,
it's Gate 1 and 2.
Yeah, I went to go buy it and I couldn't get it. It was gone. And he sent it to me.
Yo, there's audio commentaries on here and stuff too.
Dude. Carl.
Movie night.
Thank you.
Cry.
This is legit amazing. Thank you.
Noel, you get some Australian music.
Oh man.
Complete Tism singles. Tism collected verses. Tism. Oh, okay. So they look like a wild. Wait, what kind of music is this? Hang on. Some of the song titles. So I don't know what genre music this is, but I can probably guess based off some of the song titles. Number 1, Defecate on My Face.
Oh my God.
Number 3, The Ballad of John Bonham's Coke Roadie. Oh man, I'm Interested in Apathy. Martin Scorsese is really quite a jovial fellow. That's track 6. This is awesome.
I love that.
Everybody else has had more sex than me. Oh, track 23. Honk If You Love Fred Durst. This is phenomenal, dude. This is great.
Autism?
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm so down.
Is that like an autism thing?
I don't know. Any tism.
Hold on. Did you say that this is the complete tism singles?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the collected tism.
I presume it's like a.
If you're not
Thrashy
famous
punk.
at 14, you're finished.
What year did that come out?
I'm looking.
Those are very prescient titles.
All homeboys are dickheads?
That's disc 2. Obviously.
Oh, that is the collected remixes.
Come on.
Sorry.
But the picture on the back is the first of all, that's a large crowd, and he's
Yeah, they
wearing
got
like spikes.
That's amazing.
I'm gonna spin the shit out of that. And Alice, I wasn't sure what to get you, so you
That's
too
okay.
get the gift of awesome music.
I'm excited.
Now, is it more tism?
I hope you like it.
I'm intrigued.
Is it the tism B-sides?
Oh, how's the
These are
normal salty
wonderful.
ones?
I love
Okay,
these
okay.
snacks.
Is it Tism
There's a
2?
woman flashing me. I'm already into it. Emil and the Sniffers, Cartoon Darkness.
Oh. They have that at Main Street Music down the street.
Do they really?
Yeah, they're like really, apparently very good.
Emil and the Sniffers?
Jerkin is the first song.
Wait,
Chewing gum, tiny bikini.
IN apostrophe? Jerkin?
Jerkin, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Oh my God, I love it. I'm so excited.
Also, I forgot.
Oh.
He gave us Gummy Yummy Surprise, which I'm not sure how to do this. I'm not
Yo.
sure how this works. Oh,
This one-
Carl?
Oh, what's happening?
What do you do?
Here. Do you
What do
want
we-
the puppy or the police station? Puppy.
It's a
Yeah.
loaded question.
Oh, wait. Is that a gummy on the outside of the...
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, the candy's on the outside of the egg.
Oh, it smells wonderful.
Mm,
It
doesn't
smells
it?
like fruit roll-ups.
Does.
Carl, you have outdone
How do I-
yourself.
How do we remove the egg? Ah.
Oh, hey. They're like Haribo. As in, like, they have the right kind of consistency.
Is there something in here too?
I think so.
There's a surprise. There's a Gummy Yummy surprise.
Oh,
If
my
you
God.
get through all the gummies, you get a surprise, right?
Oh my God.
All right, at the end of the show, when we're done all our gummies,
I'm sure it's
we
great.
will reveal our surprises.
These are probably really great mouth sounds.
Yeah, I know. It's really bad. I'm trying to go.
Welcome to the CultPop ASMR Mouth Sounds
Worst.
channel.
I'm gonna get like Cynthia
Carl,
Revo
this is the best. Thank you so much.
style nails and just like.
Seriously, I seriously can't believe this.
Do you need me to hold space?
Wait, did you?
Hold
Did you see,
space.
I was gonna make this. Did you see the? I think did I send you that TikTok of somebody? So like the poster for Wicked is the two of them like reaching out for each other, and somebody on TikTok like airbrushed and photocopied like her just holding on to her
the
long finger.
nail. It's so good. It's
That's pretty
perfect.
funny.
So kind regards. Feel free to regift if you hate any of these. You know what?
No, never.
Out of all of us, I think JD's probably going to regift that he hates that movie.
Yeah.
Kind regards, Carl Carls, aka the unofficial 2080 dribble. How can I make parentheses? How can I make this official? Is there a swearing in ceremony or something?
There
Gonna
is.
be real hard to attend if there is. There is a swearing in. You have to be in the presence of multiple tribbles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have like at least one has to be OG tribble, and then there's a whole thing. You know, we can talk to Randy about it.
I think we've sworn in some tribbles virtually before.
I've gotten sworn in,
Mhm.
and I feel like a new person.
All right. Thank you so much,
I'm so
Carl.
touched.
Carl,
This is awesome, Carl. You're the best.
Yeah.
I am
Can we-
flabbergasted.
Can we put together something for him, please?
Yes,
we have to put
please. I was
together a
thinking
Carl
that.
Carl's set.
Yeah, please.
And you
I
have
would
to
love to.
film
How many
yourself opening
copies
it.
of... Ooh, I spit out my gummy. How many copies
Ew.
of turkey... What is it? Thanksgiving can we send him?
Oh my God.
How many are available? Oh, wait, Thanksgiving 2? According to the movie, there's none left. There's no
Oh,
copies
they're all
left because
destroyed.
it was a cursed copy movie
Didn't Carl
that
say
everyone
last week he was
watched.
going to see Carrie?
He did. He took his son to go see Carrie.
Oh my God, I want to know how
Also,
it went.
he's supposed to be with us live tonight. He said this is the first time he's been able to like hang out with us for the full sesh.
Hey, if you're
But,
here,
like no
pop
one's
in.
in the chat.
Pop in the chitty
Get in the chitty
Talk to us,
chat.
people.
chitty chat.
I really don't want to talk to us
in the
because we're
meantime,
cheating on
I
Mike.
can actually try and pop up. If you want to vamp for a second, I could pop up.
I'm starting to wonder if there's an issue.
I'm
I'll jump on YouTube
obsessed
and
with
check
this
it real quick.
Australian candy.
You should be.
It's funny.
obsessed
Even
with
the salted ones taste like chicken.
Oh, he's here.
Oh, he's here?
On your pad, why don't you pop on? And you could make sure the sound's off, and then you could chat while we roll.
Okay, great.
So
I'm
yeah,
racing
thank
to
you,
get to
Carl.
my surprise.
Why are you so dope? So chat so far. Eddie Madison, hello, what's up? Eddie also saw Craven the Hunter yesterday. Eddie, how was it?
Eddie,
Carl,
tell us about Craven.
Hey everyone. So he's been watching. I am so sorry we didn't have the chat up, Carl. It's totally fine. Technical difficulties, but we're here now.
We here. And thank you so much.
Tism is a chaos rock band. What's chaos rock?
I think you're about to find out.
We are going to find out.
I assume that's just like, crunchier punk, right?
Yeah.
You think?
Maybe.
We're going to find out.
Also, I don't know if you saw, Eddie says that Craven the Hunter is a 3 out of 5.
Oh. Well,
That's pretty good.
I thought he saw it on March 5th. Sorry. TISM actually stands for This Is Serious Mum.
Okay. Cute.
I like that. That's funny.
Yeah.
Also be warned, there's language issues on both CDs. Yeah, I was selectively reading. AMYL and the Sniffers. Amyl and the Sniffers are an Aussie pub punk rock band. These are both dope. I'm very excited. Yeah. So you got chat. So let's pipe on. So
I'm down to my surprise. Hold on.
Before we get into like the meat of it, I proposed we do more not focused shows, but like topic specific shows that we could like really have fun with and like dig.
I like to call them evergreeny
shows. And the first that come up was just my desire to make everyone oh my god,
it's a cat mermaid.
My desire.
Aw, a mercat. A merpuss.
My desire to make.
No. Oh no, I'm stupid. It's.
Don't you talk about my friend Alice like that?
It's scratching. I thought it was a tail. It's like back leg is up and it's scratching its ear. But
does yours come in pieces?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, mine too.
Together.
I mean, I didn't eat this fast enough. Whatever.
Guys, what did the waiter
It's
tell the dog?
Because you've been hosting. This is great. I don't have to host. I get to eat the snacks.
And it's a dog, not a cat.
Anyway. So it was basically bred out of my desire to make everyone watch Mission Impossible because I want to review the last one in May.
Yeah.
And then we reverse engineer it from them. So we're going to try to talk about this nearly 30-year-old movie.
Oh my God, wait.
To 1986.
Shut up.
28 years ago. This nearly 30-year-old movie. We're going to review it, but we also want to talk about like the production, how it went down, the reception, the soundtrack, the special, like we're going to try and do our best in the ways that we always do. So we're going to start with the details.
The deets. Give me the deets, brah.
Mission Impossible.
Okay. You're doing great.
Yeah. Mission Impossible. 1996.
Yes.
65% Rotten Tomato score. Not even fresh from today's standards.
I was just going to say, I'm surprised it's that low.
Directed by Brian De Palma, written by
insane.
David Koepp and Robert Towne.
David Koepp of.
Oh, I've got that on a separate doc. Let me keep going. David Koepp.
I figured you just knew.
I mean, I do.
Oh, and
Jurassic
it comes
Park.
with a little brush.
Oh my God.
So I can brush the poodle hair. Thanks, Coral.
Coral.
Oh, he also mentioned don't play the music in the shop unless you want to offend people.
I do.
No worries.
I will.
David Koepp. You know what? I will get into the credentials of the writer and the director later on.
That's fine.
The plot of this movie. When U.S. government operative Ethan Hunt and his mentor Jim Phelps go on a covert assignment that takes a disastrous turn,
spoiler alert.
Jim is killed, and Ethan becomes the prime murder suspect. Now a fugitive, Hunt recruits brilliant hacker Luther Stickell and maverick pilot Franz Krieger to help him sneak into a heavily guarded CIA building to retrieve a confidential computer file that will prove his innocence. So, before we talk about the production and the incitement of this, is this the first time you have seen this movie?
Hell no, brother.
When was the first time you saw it?
I saw it in 1996, almost 10 years ago to the day. I saw it in 96. Because that's how time works for me. And yeah, I saw it in the theater. Probably with me mums.
Yeah.
She was a big Tom Cruise fan. And yeah, we saw it in the theater. And at the time, it was just a. Sorry, I just saw the sticker on Alice's face. It was.
What does it say?
It just registered as a mildly silly action film that were kind of just along the bread and butter of that time. It didn't really read to me as particularly original or, breaking the mold of action films or spy movies or anything like that at the time.
I was going to say in 96, do you remember the kind of things that you enjoyed? Like what buttered your bread in 96? Was this
The Crow?
Oh,
Scream?
Is that 96?
Yeah,
Oh.
it was. Yeah.
Wow, same year.
10 years ago.
This was May.
Yeah, exactly.
This was May, and the Scream was, I
7
think,
movies.
December?
So yeah.
It was like
Yeah, it
November,
was December.
yeah.
But over the years, it's sort of gained. It's gone up my list a little bit, but even not that much. And it wasn't until I revisited it, not even a year ago, because I guess there was a new Mission Impossible coming out recently, which I still haven't seen. And I was like, I'm
Yeah,
going to
you still
watch
haven't
all the
seen
Mission
7.
Impossibles to get to number 7. And then I got halfway through them and then got distracted by, I guess, probably spooky movies. Usually what happens.
Yeah.
But rewatching the first one, I don't know, 6 months ago or whatever, I was blown away by how kind of fun, silly, but also competent and how well shot the whole thing is.
We'll get into that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's my experience.
What about you? Did you have seen this before?
I saw this opening day in 19. No, I'm kidding. This is my first time seeing it.
I was
3.
38 months old. We were still going months by then, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You only just stopped doing months about a year ago.
Yeah, I did.
That's from what I
did.
understand, yeah.
And once I turned 30.
Do that math real quick.
10 years.
360 months.
Yeah. First time I saw it was, when did we watch it? Like a week ago, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago?
On my couch with your fiance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your cat.
Yeah. So 2 weeks ago. What was your experience with these movies in general before that, though? Like, out of your purview, didn't give a shit?
I didn't, it wasn't really my type of movie that I would seek out thinking, this is distracting me now on my peripheral. But I always loved watching the trailers just to see, I'm like, okay, how is Tom Cruise going to try to kill himself?
Back in the day, that wasn't really kind of the thing.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
It's
The more
become-
recent ones, he's doing insane.
This did start that whole impetus of him doing tons of shit.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about some of the production stuff that he was like, no, fuck it, I'll do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was, my
Flood.
intrigue mostly was seeing all the insane stunts that he did himself.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah, other than that, it was really on just the periphery for me. Like I was aware of it. I knew the music, the pop culture wise, I knew about it. I knew the drop from the ceiling scene that
Yeah, of
everybody
course.
like mimics in other movies, parodies and stuff. Yeah. So this was my first time seeing it.
Right on. Okay. So, me? Thank you for asking.
I'm really here for the jumpies.
I was an obsessive, what I'm not chill about, especially when I was 30 years ago. What was I, like 14?
Yeah.
So 12,
I don't
13? I had just started this was around the age where parents were chill with like just dropping us off at the movie theater now because we were older than 10. You know, like when you were 12, 13, they were like, yeah, we'll pick you up when the movie's over.
Yeah.
So this was one that I requested, and me and my friends went and saw it, and I was obsessed with, I was a little obsessed with Brian De Palma.
At what age?
Like 12, 13, yeah.
Wow.
My mom would introduce me to movies and just be like, because I just loved movies so much and would read magazines and about it because there's no internet.
I love movies so much I would read magazines.
Well, yeah, you would go to the bookstore and you would read Fangoria and Cinefantis and Starlog
Sure.
and yeah, and the trades because there was no websites. And if you did have a website, it was basically like a DOS website with just like aggregated lists of trade magazines.
Mm-hmm.
She told me to watch. She gave me a copy of Blowout.
At 12.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. I mean, I remember like the first 5 minutes. There's like a nude scene. And I was like, I shouldn't be watching this. And she was just like, just don't be a dummy.
Just don't be a dummy.
And Untouchables. We watched Untouchables together. So I just liked Brian De Palma, and I remember this trailer being so dope. With the explosions. I was just really excited, and I saw it in theaters, and I was obsessed. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
So I'm sorry. You saw Mission Impossible by Brian De Palma after watching the other De Palma films?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just was like, I was a movie kid. Like, the Entertainment Weekly that came out in April about the summer movies.
Mhm.
Like, there was a list of movies that I wanted to see, and Mission Impossible was like very close to the top of that list of the big movies that were coming out. Yeah.
I wasn't quite as into it as you were with the magazines, but I did love me some Entertainment Weekly.
Oh, yeah.
That's very like surface level pop culture.
Yeah, it's
as far as I got.
It's basically the BuzzFeed of publications.
Yes.
It's,
It was that and Fango, and that's kind of all I got.
So yeah, I was super into it, and over the years I've enjoyed this franchise because you'll see that it's got such ebbs and it's got super high highs and really weird lows, but even the lows
even the
done.
lows.
Yeah. It's very weird.
I'm excited.
Mhm.
I'm very excited.
But let's go back to the beginning.
Take
to
us
the
there.
very beginning. 1996 or
1996, the beginning of everything.
30 years before that, 1966. So this is based off of a CBS TV series that went for 7 seasons, 1966 to 1973.
Okay.
It was created by Bruce Geller. It was revived on ABC in 1988 for 2 seasons.
Oh.
So there's original series and then a revamped series.
With the same cast?
Some names, but not the same cast. So the original cast, and I thought you guys would get a kick out of this. The show consisted of a rotation of specialists being used for seemingly impossible spy missions. Easy peasy. Yeah. The original cast, the names were Cinnamon Carter, was played by Barbara Brain. She was a top fashion model and actress. Roland Hand, played by Martin Landau, who was a noted actor, makeup artist, escape artist, magician, and man of a million faces.
Is that me?
That's you.
Yes.
Barney Collier, played by Greg Morris, who is a mechanical and electronics genius and owner of Collier Electronics, and Willie Armitage, who played by Peter Lupus, who was a world record holding weightlifter. Now, that was their impossible mission force. That was the IMF team in 1966. All of these people are public eye people. Yeah. An actor, a magician, a model, a mechanic, a genius, entrepreneur.
Hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is something that would only work in 1966, prior to, I don't know.
The internet?
Yeah, any digital
social media.
Yeah. Which I thought was really funny. And the article, the research I was doing, almost all of them note which didn't seem to be a problem in the in the development of the show, that anyone would be like, hey, aren't you that world famous actor? Like, nope,
that's not me.
Never happened.
Nah, man.
So in the show, the tasks and missions were led by Jim Phelps, who is the only character that carries over from the TV to the film universe. Mm-hmm. So there is a existence where this movie does, there's a possibility that this movie does exist in the continuity of the TV show. Right. The only character that carries over is Jim Phelps. Everyone else is just a different IMF agent.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
So,
see, in my head, I kind of assumed that Ethan Hunt was one of the main characters of the original show.
Right.
Ethan Hunt is very much a master, built after Roland Hand, like the idea of a master of disguise and a jack of all trades. And then later seasons, Leonard Nimoy replaced Martin Landau. Leonard Nimoy's character was named Paris. One name, Paris, who was also a master of disguise, an actor, a magician.
Is this after Star Trek?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was Star Trek was 67.
No idea.
This was the later seasons.
Brian.
This was
we need Brian.
And it only went to, the original Star Trek series was only 2 seasons.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I think it was only 2 or 3 seasons. So
I've never been a Trekkie, sorry.
1972, 73, it was post that.
Gotcha.
But Ethan Hunt is like a mix between those two characters, those two cads that are the lead of every team. Later seasons would have new cast members cycle in, like Leonard Nimoy. You had mentioned before too, Leslie Ann Warren.
Leslie Ann Warren was in the show.
Yeah, she was in the show for later seasons.
Clue.
Yeah, Ms. Scarlet. Yeah,
Miss Scarlet.
Over the years, numerous efforts to adapt the television series to film had stalled at Paramount. Until 1992, when Tom Cruise and his producing partner, Paula Wagner, jumped on board. At the start of development, Sidney Pollack was attached to direct. If you're familiar with Sidney Pollack. 3 Days of a Condor, Out of Africa, Tootsie, but most notably The Firm, which came out in 1993 with Tom Cruise. That's the John Grisham movie.
Yeah. Okay.
He did not stay attached very long, though. Cruise was deep, but Cruise went deep into his Rolodex and brought in an auteur who was no stranger to tense set pieces and high emotion, Brian De Palma. Untouchables, Carrie, Scarface. That was the other one.
Yep.
Body Double, Snake Eyes, and Blowout.
And from what I understand, this was Tom Cruise lived just down the street from Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Were you getting to this?
No.
Am I stepping on your toes?
No, go.
Yeah, Tom Cruise not growing up, but like being a young actor, I guess, lived right down the street from Spielberg and would just have dinner with Spielberg. Just gonna go to Spielberg's for some meatball subs, I guess, and then hang out and watch movies. I just made up the food part. I don't know.
Wait.
He seems like a meatball sub guy, Spielberg, doesn't he?
If you go to Spielberg's house, what kind of food would you be surprised to see? Like, hey, come over for dinner. And you're like, world famous director.
Turducken. We're having turducken.
No, that's fancy. I would think that's fancy.
Turducken's fancy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That shit's hard
Isn't
to
that
make.
just a meat wrapped in a meat?
Yeah.
–
Okay.
and another meat.
But a
There's
fancy
three
meat.
meats.
Three
fancy meats.
But they're like folded into each other and it takes forever to bake. I'm thinking like
Gross.
you show up and it's
Wawa hoagies.
I was gonna say like it's wrapped.
I was going to say hamburger helper.
I had these made for us. Like I think anybody can have those made. Anyway.
I brought the entire menu from Burger King.
Yeah, the left side of Taco Bell.
So yeah, he would have dinner and they would watch movies and everything. And so for some reason, De Palma was there one night. So it was Steven Spielberg, Tom Cruise, and Brian De Palma were just hanging out eating Big Macs. And then Tom Cruise went home.
Taco Supremes, actually.
He stayed up for 14 hours and watched Brian De Palma movies, and then was just like, he's got to do Mission Impossible. Yep. And that's how he got attached.
He became very, very, very narrow focused on Brian De Palma being the director of Mission Impossible, because if we're going to learn anything about Tom Cruise over the next 6 months, he's not chill about anything.
I was just going to say, I was like, it sounds very unchill.
He has
Alice
no chill.
amounts of chill.
I was like,
all of his
something I would
do you ever hear that what's his name? Happy Gilmore. Adam Sandler. He will take projects and develop projects based off of like where he wants to travel and what he wants to do.
Awesome.
You know, like he'll make a movie in Africa because he's like, I kind of want to go to Africa.
Yeah.
Or he'll make like a movie in Hawaii because he's like, I want to go to Hawaii.
That's awesome.
Tom Cruise is the same way, but with things that could kill you.
Yeah.
Like, I really want to make this movie about pilots. I'm going to go learn how to fly a jet and jump out of it at altitude. Yeah. Like, okay.
Casual.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the trajectory of his career. And it's not surprising that he spent like 2 days watching Brian De Palma movies.
Yeah, just straight through, apparently.
Which sounds like heaven.
Yeah.
Brian De Palma movies are great.
Which one do you think was his favorite?
For the purposes of the conversation, let's say Carrie. But I do think, you know what, probably Untouchables.
I was going to say Blowout.
This Mission Impossible, I think, is more aesthetically related in the same ballpark as Untouchables.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's
sure.
very much like Untouchables, especially that. Have you ever seen Untouchables?
I actually haven't, no.
It's totally fine.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna leave.
The whole sequence at the end of the train station, like that is just pure insanity that this kind of movie gets to. So they've got producing partners, they've got Paramount on board, they've got a main star attached and a director attached. During all this, they were developing a script, but nothing was nailed down yet. And Brian De Palma was like, I want my own guy. So they had David Koepp writing.
Oh, okay.
Who is the writer of Jurassic Park 1 and 2, The Shadow, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Ah, that's where it is.
Panic Room, he wrote and directed Stir of Echoes.
I love Stir of Echoes.
He's even doing the new Jurassic Park movie, Rebirth. So David Koepp is no slouch.
Yeah.
But, you know, he really wasn't feeling it.
Did you do Dark City?
No.
Okay.
Fired him. Hired someone else on. I forget the name. I apologize. But then Tom Cruise brought on Robert Towne to write, who is the writer of Chinatown, Days of Thunder, The Firm. And then they rehired David Koepp to do more like work on the script. The script was not finished during production.
Right.
So the completed in principle photography began March 1996. The script was still in flux. All they had were large beats, and then they reverse engineered from the large beats and were figuring that shit out on the fly, which is wild.
That's insane.
It kind of works though.
Yeah.
I think they did a pretty good job of piecing all that together.
As we'll learn going on, the current writer-director of the Mission Impossible movies, Christopher McQuarrie, similarly works the same way. We want to do this big action thing. We're going to do it. And then we'll just start to piece the story pieces into these big action set pieces, and we'll figure it out.
I imagine a lot of movies happen that way.
Yeah, but at this scale,
no.
That's like when people talk about how expensive these movies have gotten, it's just like because they don't have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a concept of a plan.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no.
Well, it's still a good line.
Yeah. I was thinking more of the Joker. Do I look like a man who has a plan?
I would watch Tom Cruise as the Joker.
He's got the teeth for it.
Oh no.
He's got the energy for it. Like he's got the jumping on couch energy for it.
Yeah.
So that's that. Production went in 1996, and the film came out in May 1996. To interesting critical reaction. Before we get into that, though, JD, you did some research.
Oh, on the soundtrack.
Yes. So during production, so this was a weird period. 1996 was a very weird period culturally. For those that don't remember, grunge was kind of already over, but not everyone knew that yet. And rap rock of the early 2000s didn't exist yet. Like the Linkin Park of it all and the Limp Bizkit of it all didn't exist yet. So there was this weird period of what we now know as like alternative music. Pretty much every preview of every action movie was scored to like The Prodigy. Like there was this weird period of like, what's the popular culture music? Yeah. And this soundtrack, I think, is an artifact of that.
It is an artifact of putting a bunch of things in a blender. Yeah. So the soundtrack for this movie, which I didn't even know existed. I didn't know that Mission Impossible had a soundtrack featuring songs as opposed to a score.
Right.
Which, I did not understand the difference growing up as a kid of like the difference between a score and a soundtrack. I also did not know until today that the score of the Mission Impossible film, the original, is Danny Elfman.
Yeah, baby.
Which is insane to me.
And I should say,
although listening to it now, I'm like, oh yeah, there he is.
The opening theme, the theme of Mission Impossible, is probably more popular than the show itself.
Absolutely.
Everyone knows
the dun, dun, dun,
the match lighting, the fuse being lit, and the dun, dun, dun.
So the Mission Impossible theme, everyone knows, was written in 1966 by Argentinian jazz pianist Lalo Schifrin, who had come to the U.S. a few years earlier with Dizzy Gillespie's band. He just started getting gigs as a film and TV composer when Mission Impossible creator Bruce Geller called and changed his life. He said to me, "I want you to write a theme that's exciting, promising, but not too heavy. Make some fun out of it," Schifrin says, "but at the same time, make it like a promise that there's going to be a little bit of action. When people go to the kitchen to get a Coca-Cola, I want them to hear the theme and say, oh, this is Mission Impossible." And my favorite tidbit of information about any of the music involved here is that the Morse code for MI, Mission Impossible, is 2 dashes followed by 2 dots. Dun, 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 dun. If a dot is 1 beat and a dash is 1.5 beats, then this gives the bar of 5 beats, exactly matching the theme's underlying rhythm.
That's awesome.
Is that not the coolest piece of music info? Cool. Like I couldn't believe it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I love that.
Alan Silvestri was originally hired to score this movie and had written roughly
straight up Lego.
Wait, we got a Lego?
It's a straight up Lego. Yeah, it's of a firehouse
from Gummy Yummy. Surprise.
Yeah, it's a firehouse.
I built my Robin.
This smells so good. Oh, you got a good Robin. Good job. Yeah, I did it. Show the people at home. I'm gonna
try one of these.
Alan Silvestri.
A little bit left.
Oh, thank God, no, that's fine.
What else has Alan Silvestri scored? I feel like you know this.
Alan Silvestri scored Back to the Future. He also scored Captain America, the first Avenger, and he's responsible for the Avengers theme.
Oh, it's good.
Wow.
Dun, 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 yeah.
So he had been originally hired to do the score for this movie, Mission Impossible, and wrote 23 minutes of music before he was kicked off. He recycled the material he had written and used it for the score to Eraser, another 1996 film.
Are you familiar with Eraser?
Ghost says The Avengers. You are correct. And Carl says Carrie, of course. I think we were talking about which De Palma
Carl, that's the correct answer. Thank you.
Tom Cruise would have picked, right?
Oh, as his favorite?
Yeah.
Is that your favorite or Tom Cruise's favorite?
Yes,
So,
either way.
bootleg copies. You can find bootleg copies of his Mission Impossible, Alan Silvestri's Mission Impossible score in circulation around.
We totally listened to that.
And I didn't know this either. U2 bandmates Larry Mullen Jr. and Adam Clayton were fans of the original TV show and knew the original theme music well, but were nervous about remaking Schifrin's legendary theme song. Clayton put together his own version in New York City, and Mullen did his in Dublin on weekends between U2 recording sessions. The two musicians were influenced by Brian Eno and European dance club scene sound of the recently finished album Passengers.
If anyone has not heard, everyone has heard the Mission Impossible theme.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Skeedly,
Was it before we watched the movie? I put this video on
Oh, did you put
Yes.
for this movie?
the music video
Yes,
for
yes, it was
the
before.
Adam Clayton.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Them two?
It is. Yeah, it is such. Yeah, the other two.
Yeah, the other two from U2, them two.
It is such a weird, piece of like late 90s, early 2000s thing.
Mhm.
It really it is. Yeah, it's such a time capsule fucking music video.
I
It's so
watched
weird.
it,
Did you watch
yeah.
the music video?
I love
watched it
shit
just
like
now.
that though.
But it's actually a really good version. So like the first half of it is just like this is really solid, and then all of a sudden it gets real techno. Like
Yeah, it does
like,
what I liked
all right.
about the Fight Club score.
yes,
Which was
Dust Brothers.
the Dust Brothers,
Mhm.
which is a lot of, I don't know, electronic music, but then they will use actual quotes from the movie in the song,
Yeah.
which I'm kind of a sucker for
Yeah,
some reason. I don't know
same.
why I love it, but I do.
Vicious Marshmallow. He also wrote Superman, and no, that's John Williams.
That's what I thought.
Not Alan Silvestri. That's John Williams. Superman tomorrow. Anyway,
Oh yeah, tomorrow is the
Mhm.
trailer drop. Anyhoomst. So yeah, all 7 tracks appear on promotional vinyl and CD releases, talking about the them two. And then the soundtracks for the Mission Impossible films have sold well, with the 1996 soundtrack reaching gold status, and the theme song by them two selling 500,000 copies.
I have it on vinyl.
The soundtrack reached gold status after 2 weeks after the release of the film, and the theme song by U2, blah, 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 reached number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100 and was also a hit in other countries. Only 5 of the 15 songs on the soundtrack, Clayton and Mullen's first rendition of the theme, the contribution by the Cranberries, and the 3 Danny Elfman score suites are actually heard in the movie.
Yeah.
There are other songs by Bjork and Massive Attack that I do not recommend. The Massive Attack song, there's the first 2 songs I believe are only included because they have the word spy in the title. I'm serious, because they're awful. But I mean, not to give any shade to Bjork. I like Bjork, but it's not one of her best songs. And you definitely know, I didn't know the name of the Cranberries song, Dreams.
Yeah.
I don't know that by title.
Yeah, when they're
And so
having
when I put it on, I was like, oh, I know that song.
they're having a pub beer at the end. It's just playing Dreams in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't written for the soundtrack. It was just from their original album.
I wonder the machinations that got Cranberries on the soundtrack, because that song was already popular on their
It came
album.
out 3 years before this
Yeah,
movie happened.
and
So this
it's
is
just-
an old song at this point.
Yeah. Either way, it's like also back in the day, we purchased soundtracks. Like soundtracks were a thing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
miss soundtracks.
Mhm.
Carl's, my fave De Palma film is also Carrie, but I equally love Raising Cain.
Wow, you're
I
right.
didn't know
that's a
that was
diploma.
him.
Yeah. Untouchables is untouchable as a good movie. Vicious Marshmallow. Nope. John Williams isn't actually a guy. Turns out it's Silvestri all along.
Oh,
Fair enough. All right. I'm not going to dispute that.
learned that from Scooby-Doo. He pulled off
you
his
know what?
head.
Yeah.
You'll never see John Williams and Alan Silvestri in the same room for reasons.
So those are my little tidbits about the soundtrack.
I cannot
Fantastic.
wait for our conversation about the soundtrack of Mission Impossible 2.
Me too, because I don't know what's on it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's very 2006.
Okay.
It's like Limp
Is
Bizkit
it-
and Korn.
I'm
and
so excited.
Wow.
Yes.
Mission Impossible 2 is 10 years after Mission Impossible?
Yeah, almost.
Oh, okay.
Wait, no. It's like 4 or 5 years. And then there's like a 6 or 7 year gap between 2 and 3.
Okay.
Because I think 2 put people in movie jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Even though it made tons of money. It was like the highest grossing Mission Impossible movie until part 6 or something like that.
Mhm.
But
Wow.
it was.
What was John Woo?
It was
Everyone had high expectations.
It was so poorly received that it was just like, hey, we're gonna take a pause.
Let's not make movies anymore, guys.
Step back.
I think. Are we the baddies?
Are we the baddies?
Anyway, let's talk about the cast. So we've talked about Tom Cruise over and over again. He plays Ethan Hunt. Jon Voight plays Jim Phelps, the leader of Ethan's IMF team. Emmanuelle Berr is Claire Phelps, Phelps' wife and member of the IMF also. She specializes, does anybody know? We watched the movie. Do you know what she specializes in?
Nope.
Getaway transportation.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Henry Czerny as Eugene Kittredge, the director of IMF, also a victim in Scream 6. He's the therapist.
Oh my God. Okay.
That was the first thing I said when he popped on screen.
Jean Reno as Franz Krieger, a professional disavowed IMF agent. And
hold on a second. Have you watched The Professional?
No.
Okay, cool. Just a second.
Okay.
Someday we will stop asking that question.
No, it's okay. Keep
Can we
asking.
make you watch all the movies?
There's like a meme of this show that's just like asking you if you've seen it.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Have you seen this?
Have you seen this?
No,
yet?
cool.
Have you seen this thing?
We're old. Have you seen it? I'm old. Have you seen it?
Were you
Have you
alive
seen
when
this?
this movie happened?
Yeah.
No?
Did you see
Cool.
it?
Yeah.
What's the math? Yeah, that's 30% of our show.
Yes.
Supercut.
And I love
You're
it.
welcome.
Jean Reno, he is recruited by Ethan to assist him. Ving Rhames as Luther Stickell, the only other cast member in all 6 movies.
And he was cast specifically because they wanted someone who looked the furthest away from a hacker, which is neat.
Interesting.
Oh.
Skilled computer hacker recruited by Ethan. Vanessa Redgrave as Max, an illegal arms dealer. She eats every scene
I
that
was
she's
ready
in.
to say that. She is chomping away.
I
love her.
The words that come out of her mouth are like her lips curl after every single syllable, and it's just
It's kind of sexy.
She could read the phone book to me.
Yeah. She was originally written as a man.
Max, hey. Kristen Scott Thomas as Sarah Davis, an IMF agent and undercover infiltration expert. Ingabora Dupumke as Hannah Williams, an IMF agent, surveillance expert on Phelps' team. Emilio Estevez as Jack Harmon, an IMF agent and security system specialist on Phelps' IMF team.
Now, he was cast, though his whole thing was they were basically doing a Scream where they hired Emilio Estevez.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically because they thought it would be a big shock to kill him off in the first 10 minutes, even though his star was kind of plummeting at that time.
That whole, like, we'll talk about the structure.
I love Emilio Estevez.
We'll talk about the structure of the movie, but that is the first thing I remember something like that happening, where we meet an entire cast of characters and they've all got specialties, and let's go. 5 minutes later, they are all brutally murdered.
Yeah.
And specifically for decades after watching Mission Impossible, anytime it would come up in my head or it would come up in conversation in my head, I would immediately see Emilio Estevez with a shunk.
Yeah.
It stuck with me. For some reason, that death really, like the fact that he has no control over it and then the brutality of it.
Yeah.
He sees it coming. It stuck with me for a very long time.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, that is everybody. The marketing, there was, the production budget for the movie was initially only supposed to be 40. They agreed to let them push it up to 50. But Cruise kept pushing because he wanted big, showy action pieces that took the budget in the 62 million range. So them agreeing to put the movie in less locations in order to save budget, to get bigger action sequences. And that's why they landed on Prague. At the time, not many movies actually featured Prague for Prague.
De Palma actually convinced him to do Prague because you never see Prague in movies.
Right.
Yeah, like Prague, if they do any filming in Prague, it's usually like as a double for England and or Paris or something, but it was just like, let's make it in Prague. So they were able to just like save budget that way.
There's something on the lighting?
No, go.
So the lighting in that scene where, they all come out of the party. What is that? Where are they at?
Oh yeah, it's a banquet. It's a party. Yeah,
it's a banquet of some sort. And they come out and they follow the suspect, and everything is lit up along the water there. That took 3 days of lighting, of doing just lighting up and down, and the whole place. They're just off screen. So many photographers went there because the city had never been lit in that way before. So all of the photographers came out just to get pictures of the way that this movie had lit that waterfront for miles.
Yeah, because there's a handful of shots that are from the other side of the canal of people running down like the brick. To me, it felt like a brick shore, like a brick beach. The way that there's like no actual edge to the canal.
I thought that was weird. Yeah, just like walk right into it.
But there were like so many shots on the other side of it. I could totally see that. Like, the movie's beautifully shot, and we will talk like frame composition and shooting of this movie is just ridiculous. It is low canted angles, extreme close-ups, and when they do pull out, it's wildly manufactured. Like Brian De Palma is a perfectionist, especially in shot composition. You watch any of his movies, he almost doesn't give a shit about the performance. It's where I place you and how you're lit. Which
sorry, there's one scene that kind of makes me laugh, and it's literally just like one shot, and it's basically the hacker. Luther. It's Luther, and he's just looking out of a car window. But it is a shot from like, I don't know, a mile up that zooms in, and it's just him looking out the window for a second.
Yeah, he's in the fire truck.
Yeah. And he's just looking out. And it's like, that shot took so much preparing and effort for 0.5 seconds. It made me laugh out loud.
They constructed the whole movie off of the three large set pieces. Yeah. Which were the fish tank restaurant. I
loved that scene.
The heist at Langley and the train sequence, and everything just kind of like was filled in between the cracks. But the first one being the tanks.
Yeah,
that was, many say, the beginning of Tom Cruise's insistence and almost like crazy desire to be a stunt performer, because they tried it with stunt performers 2 times.
Yeah.
And it just never looked right because they wanted to get that front shot of the actor coming out. And this was, when did Titanic come out? Came out like right before this, or 2 years before this, I think, 94?
94, maybe.
They had versions of digital face replacement in that movie, and no one liked it. Yeah. So they were like trying not to do that. And Tom Cruise was just like,
what if I just do it?
What if I just do it?
And also, that whole building was his idea. That whole fish tank building. Yeah, and they were afraid he was going to drown.
The stunt was his idea. Yeah. They wouldn't let him do it. He was just like, let's do it. Let's not tell anybody. Let's do it. Let's just do it. See what happens. And then it just kind of began the struggle with Tom Cruise getting insured on movie sets.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's two versions of that shot. When you see him coming out, that's on a set. Like when you see him jumping through the window toward camera, but then it switches to actually being on location in Prague of him running into Prague, basically.
Yeah, they literally just,
but
like,
it's so well put together
and fish at. Yeah. That was actually one of the first instances where I really realized that pickup shots existed. Like, even nowadays, you hear people online bitch about like, why are you going back for reshoots? Or is there a problem with the movie? Like, no, usually when they edit it, they realize like, oh, we need a reaction shot and we need the second half of this sequence. It doesn't mean there's a problem. It just means we're putting it in pieces. But yeah, and I love that sequence too. The other one that I like, we'll talk about. I mean, if you guys want to talk about the Langley yet,
sure,
we're gonna get into it. Like, what did you think the first? You have seen it memed.
Let's check in with the chat real quick. Right? Let's see. Do you guys remember the Emilio bit from Night at the Roxbury?
Of course,
I don't.
Emilio.
Chris says, I remember when this one came out on VHS and we rented it while my mom was at the hospital with one of her parents. I think it was my grandpa, but I'm not certain.
Did you like it?
But yeah, between this and GoldenEye, it was a weirdly erotic time for movies.
These are horny movies.
Yeah.
Like, it is a very horny movie. Like, that's your friend's wife. And
I was cracking up when he...
Who sent you? And he's literally feeling her up. Not even searching her, just like feeling her up. And I was just like, all right. And then she's just like, hey, are you okay? You need some sleep. But she's like, are you okay? You need some sleep.
Kissing his hand lightly.
It was a really weirdly horny movie. Yeah.
You know what? I thought this was a really interesting, since we're on the horn of it all, it was a really interesting way to cut to the, you do your cold open, which was kind of fun. But there's a really slow sort of, he's taking the agent who has taken the sleeping agent, the sleeping pill, and is slowly waking her up by like caressing her face and all this stuff. And she wakes up and she says, did we get it? We got it. And then it cuts to Mission Impossible. And I'm like, what a strange transition. Like you
Yeah.
have this really cool cold open of this, faux interrogation, and then, pulling off the mask and all that stuff. You would think that would be the cut, but like, no, let's slow down and caress her face and make sure she's okay afterwards. And then we're going to cut.
That is so the De Palma of it all, though, right?
Yeah.
Like
He's a horny director.
Yes,
Yeah.
like Blowout and Body Double and Snake Eyes. Yeah, he's a horny guy.
And I appreciate that.
And Femme Fatale too. I think the one with Rebecca Romaine and
I didn't see
Antonio Banderas. It's not a good movie at all.
Banderas.
But yeah, he goes out of his way to stage something, set it up, but then he will slow it the hell down.
Yeah.
Like decompressing
But not like Zack Snyder
entire
would.
sequences. No, he'll slow it down. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. He doesn't just he'll take his time with the sequence,
Yes,
which
yes.
is a perfect segue into the heist in Langley. So the whole MacGuffin in this entire movie is that they have to get a knock list, which is a list of all of the real names of the undercover agents. And they have to break in to do it. And it sets up competence porn.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Mhm.
Yep.
You have specialists doing their special things, and it's impossible, and we get to watch them work, which
Mhm.
could be its own thing.
So good. I love that.
It's its own kink that I truly enjoy in film. And it is the OG version of this in modern cinema. You have seen it memed over and over again. You probably have seen that sequence before.
Oh, that
Actually watching it in context of the whole thing, what did you think?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Yeah, like
Fantastic.
what was the setup? Like the degrees can't change, no pressure on the floor, no
Noise.
sound,
Yeah.
lasers.
yeah.
Temperature. Did you say that already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was sharks with lasers on their heads.
Freaking lasers.
And they were the sharks of Rome.
And
And-
nice, well done. Fucking Sharks of Rome, God damn it. And one of my favorite bits is he kept doing that, and they would really drop him,
Mhm.
and he just kept hitting his face right onto the floor repeatedly. So he finally put coins in his shoes to balance him better. And it was the very last time they were going to do it when De Palma was like, "That's it, we're just going to figure something else out."
we
He's
can't
like,
break
"Just
our
let me-
star's face.
Let me do one more. And he does
Nose
it,
bleeding.
and that was him. He really was able to do it. And then De Palma just kept rolling while he's like
Yeah.
sweating.
So all of that fish,
That's all real.
that's all
I
real. Yeah.
love
Yeah.
that even more
He's like,
now.
and then finally he's like, and cut.
Yeah.
We're
With
not
like a smile on
we're
his
not
face.
doing this again, so
Make
wait
sure
till
we're
he can-
covered.
they can-
Yeah.
Yeah, but the idea of rolls of quarters, like
Yeah.
rolls of coins in his pants, I thought was really funny. And then that cutaway, in between all of it, the cutaway of Krieger biting a rat to death, I thought was really funny.
My God. Yeah.
It's just a rat coming, and then in the next shot, the rat's next to his face, dead.
Yeah.
I'm like,
But he's still holding.
he bit that bitch.
Yeah, you're
I
like,
don't think I noticed that.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, because there's a whole thing of like the rat showing up, and he's like,
yeah.
and then it gets really close. He drops the thing, he picks it up again, and then they cut back to him, and the rat is dead next to him.
That's awesome.
yeah.
And you're like, he didn't use his hand.
I did not even
Yeah.
catch that. That's funny.
So if he wouldn't have died of a helicopter explosion, he probably would have died of some sort of disease
Yeah.
that he caught from
Eating rats.
eating a
From
rat.
rats. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then there's the train sequence at the end. I
Yeah.
think it holds up. I'm
Mm.
assuming you don't agree.
I'm not a big fan. That is what there is so much tension and suspense in this movie, and it's just. And I didn't even realize this until recently that it's just a whodunit.
Yeah.
It's just a
Yeah.
murder mystery the whole time. Like growing up, I was like, oh, it's a spy movie, it's an action movie. Like, no, it's a murder mystery.
Yeah.
And there's so much excellent suspense throughout this movie, and the different set pieces. But then at the end, it's just this big bombastic, over the top, super CG train sequence. And it just,
Don't forget
it
the
kind of,
helicopter.
and the helicopter flying through a tunnel, which is very cool.
I was gonna say,
very cool.
Yeah.
Which was fine.
But like, it switches genre for me. The whole feel of the thing feels very different, and we've gone into like Last Action Hero type
Oof.
nonsense.
That movie's great.
So it's just a very different tonal switch that I was not prepared for, and I think brings the movie down just a skosh.
Mm.
I hear that. I don't agree, but I hear that.
But I hear you.
Well, no. So, in the context of the whole thing, it really does feel like a explosive release of the entire movie. And I do actually think it holds up. I thought it held up. And then reading about how they've pulled it off in production, I thought was really cool. Actual like training for skydive fans.
Oh, okay.
Because they were trying they obviously filmed it all in studio. They tried a bunch of different fans and wind speeds and yes, just like little hand fans and wind speeds. I believe the director was just blowing on his face. Which for Tom Cruise wasn't good enough. Yeah. And he remembered, he just happened to remember that time he was doing skydiving training indoors with one of those giant jet engine fans.
Oh, for real?
Yes.
Oh, this is real.
So they had it shipped from London to the studio, and everything you're seeing of him like face flying and like sliding, that's a jet
badass.
Engine throwing him around. Yeah. And I just imagine Jon Voight hated every second of it. Because he has to be there for a hand second of it.
Yeah.
I feel like Jon Voight hated being in this movie.
I feel like Jon Voight is just filled with hate.
That tracks.
I feel like
he just hates everything. Also, it was a creepy relationship. Him and his wife.
Oh, yeah.
She's like 30 years younger than him, right?
Yeah. We were like doing the math.
In the movie, maybe he's only late 40s.
No.
But probably not.
No, you're giving him too much credit.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So we were talking about how horny it was before between that guy's wife and Tom Cruise, Ethan. Ethan finds out that, is it John in the movie? It's Jon Voight. Jim is alive, but he's like, you can't let Claire know that I'm alive. And then the next scene with them two, she's like kissing on his hand. He's like, oh yeah, now I have to bone your wife just to I don't think you're alive. Like, I'm committing to the bit of not knowing you're alive.
You told me to make it believable.
You told me to pretend like you weren't alive. So
listen, how many wives I've had to bone due to just committing to the bit? Yeah. Ridiculous.
Follow through.
Says Tom Cruise.
And they all say follow through.
The one thing I wanted to talk about with Jon Voight was, going back, you haven't rewatched it ever. You just watched it the once.
Watched it one time.
Going back and rewatching it after knowing who the baddie is, right? It's so obvious. If you rewatch it from the beginning, like there's even that scene of him like, oh no, I'm being shot. And you can see that he's holding his own gun like this. You can see from the shot that the other characters in the movie see like, oh, he's holding a gun towards himself. So, and also just his apathy of like, oh no, I can't, I'm locked out. I can't stop the elevator. Oh, you're dead. I guess I'll go.
I do like knowing that he was just like actually pushing the button to close it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm having trouble with the door.
So, I just thought that was really funny going back and be like, oh, Jon Voight isn't barely trying to hide this at all.
Yeah.
This was, I was 12 when I saw this, and if I had not seen other Brian De Palma movies, that entire sequence of, which is basically Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt going through in his head scenarios, but the movie doesn't tell you that he's going through scenarios. It's just showing flashbacks. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, he killed him. Oh, he killed everybody. Okay. But then he changes it mid-thought to, no, it's actually maybe this.
Yeah.
It was really, really interesting choice of like not holding the audience's hand. Like your entry to the audience is Ethan, and the movie commits to that bit full stop. It will not show you a flashback unless it's through the prism of Ethan's thoughts.
Right.
Even when he's not sure. So you're seeing different versions of him
working it out, which is really cool.
Which I thought was really dope.
That is awesome.
And watching it now, knowing how it all ends, more so than anything else in that entire sequence, it's not he's figuring it out about Phelps. He changes his mind about her twice. Yep. Like, he didn't need an accomplice there. He could have done this. So it wasn't really a whodunit about that. It was more of a, is she in on it until the very end?
Right.
Which I thought was probably the bigger reveal in development.
Yeah.
But it is pretty on the nose. It's a very linear movie. There's nothing shocking about this. It's table stakes. It's meat and potatoes.
Yeah. I did like that Tim Curry shows up at the end and just walks us through all of the different ways people were murdered.
Just like running from room to room.
Yeah.
From train station to train station. Also, too, it should be noted the score for that entire action sequence at the end is just so baller. I don't know if you were paying attention to it. They literally, like, it's Danny Elfman at the height of his powers, like the way that they do all of the percussion and the beats during the action sequence to just blend into a red light, green light, Mission Impossible hero theme. Like it was like, that's the first time that it's been used as like an action hero theme. Yeah. And it was just, it's so effective, still so effective. And then it just crawls as the helicopter is like rolling towards him. It's just a wonderful action sequence. I
do love that. Speaking about the helicopter bit, I do love the
yes.
It's such a good shot.
And then the conductor passes out.
Yeah.
It's very old school filmmaking. Mm-hmm. So I think is there anything else we want to bring up about like just the contents of the movie? Let's get into critical reaction.
No, just the way they shot it. What was it? It was like there's 3 different sets of how they shot this movie. Mm-hmm. One was old Europe in the beginning with like the lights on the water and everything like that, and everything's sort of very I love extraneous fog.
Yes.
And they're this dripping with good fog in the beginning of this.
The hotel rooms look like just old wood archways. Yes. Like it's very cathedral-esque, everything, all the interiors and archways and stuff everywhere. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what the middle one, but then at the end it's like new
the middle one is very
Europe.
Parisian. When they go meet Max, isn't it? And like
it's very bright and American, right? So you go from all this really dark and misty look to like all the corridors are very brightly lit. There's no shadows almost anywhere. Mm-hmm. The scene in Langley, that set design was by a guy who was involved with like 2001 and also Star Wars, and that's why it looks like 2001, but also the Empire. Mm-hmm. Architecture inside a starship.
I wanted that desk when I was younger. The idea of the chair that just folds out from the desk. Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of it.
I wanted to say something I love watching. The computer scenes whenever he's sending an email.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so amazing. He's
like Job.
He was on the internet. Yeah, it was like, what was some of the computer prompts he put in? We were laughing at like the
Bible.
Yeah.
He just Googled the Bible.
Bible.
Job.
Phrases. Job.
Yep.
Bible. And then the email addresses were like Job313 at Bible.
It was like
Bible phrase.
It was like Max at Job13, and I'm like, what?
and even the animated graphics of like the mail going.
Yeah, but I love
like no computers did this.
By the way, go ahead.
No, I just love when the technology in a movie can show like the time capsule that it is. Like like one thing that always makes me laugh and scream is when they find Billy Loomis with a cell phone. Like, what are you doing with a cellular telephone, son? And it's like.
How many times do they say cellular telephone and scream?
And
it's also like a chunk.
Yeah.
Right?
Chunky boy. That Apple computer that he uses to send those emails is what didn't work. That was a prototype that didn't work, but they wanted to have it in the movie. And so everything that you see is an older version of that computer and not the updated one that you see from the outside.
Apple paid $15 million
in
for
internet
that.
at one point?
$15 million?
Apple paid $15 million promotion link to the film, but it included print ads, television spot, and the personal computers used in the movie. So like they contributed $15 million of the marketing budget for this whole movie because of placement like that and stuff. Yeah.
That's
Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah. So box office came out in May 22nd, 1996, in a then record-breaking 3,012 theaters, becoming the first film to be released in over 3,000 theaters in the United States, and broke the record for the previous opening of a movie that big. Wednesday opening. It was a Wednesday for 11.8 million, beating 11.7 million set by Terminator 2 Judgment Day in 1991.
T2?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
It also made the highest pre-Memorial Day Wednesday gross of any film, surpassing Return of the Jedi. The film also set house records in several theaters around the United States, earning $45.4 million. Mission Impossible smashed the short-lived record held by Twister for having the biggest May opening weekend. It grossed $75 million in its first 6 days, surpassing Jurassic Park. More than 56 million over a 4-day Memorial Day weekend, beating the Flintstones. The next year, The Lost World Jurassic Park would take the records back for having the largest May opening weekend, the biggest number of screening in the highest Memorial Day gross.
Which is a shame because J2 is not as good as
The film
M1.
It topped the box office for 2 weeks until it was displaced by, any guesses?
Wait, I'm sorry, say again?
It was knocked off the top spot after 2 weeks by
Scream.
No.
That's the only movie I remember in 96. What else?
The Rock.
Oh, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Another classic. I love The Rock.
Cruise deferred his usual $20 million fee for a significant percentage of the box office. It went on to gross $180.9 million in North America and $276 in the rest of the world, making close to $500 million.
So he said no to the, 20 million?
But he gets a piece of the back end.
So he wound up making about 70 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Damn.
Which was like, deferred was a big, like a new thing back then, like points at the back end.
Especially remind me, Tom Cruise, Risky Business.
Mm-hmm.
What else? He only did like 2 or 3 movies before this, right? He wasn't like the biggest name ever, was he, at this point?
Yeah, let's pull it up.
This is the first movie he ever produced that he was ever listed as a producer on.
Let's see. Roles. Actor. Oh,
When was Top Gun?
Doing like, Top Gun, Days of Thunder, and
Top Gun was before this?
It was all before this.
Yeah.
I'm a dummy.
Yeah, it was all before this. Fucking idiot.
Edit that out.
We're not live. It's fine.
Come on, Ben. Work that out, bud. Critical reaction was mixed. 65% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It would not be fresh these days. 6.1 average rating. Some of the critics' websites read, full of special effects. Brian De Palma's update on Mission Impossible has a lot of sweeping spectacle, but the plot is sometimes convoluted. Yeah. It's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah, right.
My favorite quote was from Chicago Sun-Times film critic Roger Ebert, my favorite critic overall. He gave it 3 out of 4 stars. And he said, this is a movie that exists in an instant, and we must exist in the instant to enjoy it.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right, Ebert.
He was good. But it's true. This is a movie where just let it wash over you. Yeah. If you think about it too long, it's fucking stupid. Mm-hmm. If you pick at it too long, it's but if you just exist in the moment that the movie exists, it's actually pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the chat, Born on 4th of July says R Moon, as well as I think he was nominated for an Oscar and Rain Man. Oh, fucking
yeah.
He was
Rain
nominated
Man.
for Oscar on Born on the 4th of July, I believe.
Is Rain Man problematic now?
I mean, are you watching?
I remember loving that movie.
Are you watching it in the context of it 1990 something?
Is it problematic now?
I'm sure. Well, I mean, the terminology and understanding of autism in that year
developed since then.
Developed since then. Yeah. So if you're watching it now as they know everything I know and society knows now, back then, probably.
Okay.
But is it a spiteful, hateful movie?
No.
No, not at all.
Well, in the beginning it is, but then he comes around.
Yeah.
He learns his lesson. The Cruise does.
I think you mentioned this before. Has your opinion changed on Mission Impossible 1?
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Going from just sort of like a humdrum kind of fun in the instant action movie, I've really come around on this and appreciated all the different sort of elements that I didn't appreciate earlier.
Yeah.
The fact that it is a murder movie. It's a murder mystery.
Didn't mention too, it's very much shot like a horror movie.
Very much.
Yes.
Yeah, we've said that so many times in the past week.
Stalking shadows and low canted angles and like really tense moments.
The building of the suspense and dread.
It's almost comical. Mm-hmm. That scene in the aquarium restaurant and the fact that it's like bang,
you haven't seen me very upset.
Yeah. I loved it though.
It's so great, but it's also like you guys are really going for it.
Like,
good for you.
Their nose, but I loved it.
It's a theatrical, operatic, very to the hilt. Yeah.
Oh, there's a couple. I'm sorry, I just remembered some tiny little things that I didn't really notice originally. In the very beginning of the movie, Jim is getting if you choose to accept this for the original setup, and this tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds. My original thought was that poor plane. Like someone's got to clean up that melted tape out of that tape player. That sucks. But the one thing I really noticed was he lights up a cigarette.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's so funny. You could smoke on planes back then. But he lights up the cigarette because the tape is about to explode and release a bunch of smoke. Yeah. So he lights a smoke to hide the fact that his mission is smoking. And I thought that was such a cool little tidbit. And the other one was at the aquarium scene where Tom Cruise is under the table. He's red light, green lighting his gum and then goes to throw it. I'm like, that gum would not stick to that.
Glass.
Yeah, the fish tank.
Mm-hmm.
But there's water on the table that when he throws it, he breaks the water glass, which mixes with the gum, which makes the gum stick to the glass. I was like, God damn it.
Yep. There's a lot of like little weird.
Yeah.
Also, too, there's a couple of those during the. I mean, the rat is a good example. There's a couple of those in the.
Didn't even catch that. Great.
It's obvious that's the same style of knife that he sees in the beginning.
Yeah.
But like little things like that. The how often the guy goes to go vomit and like the other movies carry on some of those things, including what happens to that actor or that character that is shipped off to Alaska for he will show up again.
Nice. I'm sorry, those are little tidbits.
Yeah. So let's rate this movie.
Well, hold on. I'm asking you the same question you just asked me. How has your opinion changed or developed on this movie since the last 30 years?
I always liked it, but I think I appreciate it a little bit more as like a piece of pop culture. Mm-hmm. Like the Mission Impossible movies have been going on for 28 years now. They do feel like a pillar of pop culture, for better or worse. And it makes sense, like that this one is so strong at the same time that it's very flawed and almost nothing like the other movies in the franchise is just very fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it in later episodes, but they go out of their way to have the Mission Impossible movies feel different, but then they get to a point where they don't feel different anymore.
I say they're starting to feel a little samey.
Yeah.
These days.
Well, because after the fourth one, it was all different directors. The 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th have been the same director.
Yeah.
So and that's honestly too when they become less standalone. The first 4 movies are very standalone. They're very just like
episodic
days in the lives of these characters. 5 starts threads that are still going.
Okay.
So they're a little bit more episodic in that respect. Yeah. Which is not bad, but what it becomes is completely different than what it was. Yeah. And both are dope for a lot of reasons. And it's very interesting watching this series develop like that. And they're very much probably products of their era too. Mm-hmm. Like this movie is very much late 90s. Yeah. The next one is very much early 2000s. Yeah. Early 2000s. 3 is mid-aughts.
Oh, wow.
And 3 feels mid-aughts in regards to if you think about what was popular on TV at the time and what kind of new like film techniques.
I'm so excited to watch.
Yeah, 3 is honestly I think 3 is top 2. Ooh. Like 3 is probably my favorite. Yeah, that's with your guy.
Philip. Oh,
yeah,
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Dude,
he's a bad guy.
Dude, when I heard that he was going to be the villain in a Mission Impossible, I was like, that guy, he's the best villain in the series for me. Freaking love that dude.
There's another bad guy that comes in later that's pretty dope, but Philip Seymour Hoffman is.
He's also very good in The Hunger Games as a somewhat baddie.
And he isn't in the last one.
He isn't.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
So I enjoy the shit out of these movies, but I think I appreciate them more now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great.
What about you?
You appreciate it more a week after
2
watching
weeks
it?
out? Yes.
Yeah.
Expectations versus how you feel.
Oh, I loved it more than I thought I would. I wasn't sure I was going to like it.
Were you interested at all? Be like, oh, Mission Impossible?
I thought it'd be fun to talk about. Yeah. I thought I was going to goof on it more, honestly. Mm-hmm. But I ended up really, really liking it. Not ironically. Nice. I again, like, I didn't know it was like a murder mystery in the beginning.
Who done it?
They got me with the screaming of it. I was like, oh my God, they killed that guy in the elevator.
They knew how to get you.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
Alice will love this.
I cannot wait to see
30 years from now, Alice is going to love
1996. She's 3 now, but
we're making it for her.
30 years, she's going to love this.
We need this movie to last long enough for Alice.
She's going to not be chill about it.
Yeah. There's enough content for you to not be chill about. There's 8 movies, which we will watch all of them.
Yeah.
With our noses plugged.
Mm-hmm. What was it like watching with 4 people who have never experienced Mission Impossible before?
Actually, let me add on to that question.
Yeah.
So I love a movie night. And part of the fun of watching a movie that you're making everyone watch is the reaction in the room.
Yeah.
How was the reaction in the room?
I was controlling movie night. So I was a little overly precious about it because on this show I have complained numerously about unimpeded movie-going experiences.
It's church.
It's church. Obviously, you can't replicate that in a house with like 5 people, but I did my best in regards to the lights. I asked people to not use their phones. We did not pause the movie.
Nope.
We like ate before, and I don't think anybody took a pee break. Like we literally just
had a bucket.
We did not impede the movie. We just kind of like experienced it, and kept the noise levels where they were, and honestly, I was expecting some people to be a little like antsy and or bored.
Yeah.
No, everybody was kind of tuned. Everybody was kind of like tuned in.
I love it.
Including Dylan, who I don't think thought he was gonna like it at all.
Yeah.
We miss you, Dylan.
We miss you. He did laugh very hard at
Ben's
every
great, though.
computer scene.
Yes.
Dylan was the first one to laugh at every computer scene where he's just typing Bible.
And then after the movie, we watched the trailer for Mission Impossible 2.
We did.
Awesome.
And Dylan started maniacally laughing and saying, "I'm gonna hate that." And I can't wait.
I feel like
I can't wait.
Yeah, that's the one I'm mostly curious about is the reaction to MI2.
It's gonna be a peak and a valley. So like this is a peak. 2 is gonna be a weird valley, but then 3 is gonna be like what's up?
I think 2 is a peak valley.
I think 2
is peak valley.
Peak 2002. When did part 2 come out?
See, I love 2002. Specifically 2002.
When did Mission Impossible 2 come out? Hang on, let's check really quick. I think it's 2002. Dead air, baby, dead air.
Oh wait, my Mission Impossible U2 is my previous.
Oh, 2000. I'm so sorry. So 1996, May 22nd, 1996, May 24th, 2000. And to give you an idea of the feelings about the franchise after that, Mission Impossible 3 did not come out for 6 years.
Okay.
Like, so it didn't get made until 2006. Directed by J.J. Abrams, his first feature length.
That's right.
His first feature.
Yeah.
Because apparently Tom Cruise loved Alias.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So he was I want to meet this guy. So we're going to rank him.
Oh, wait, rank what?
Well, we're going to rate it. Sorry.
Rate it.
Oh.
I was like, I've only seen one. This is going to be like M. Night Shyamalan all over
again. On a scale of 1 to 5 lit fuses.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun. 1 to 5 dun-duns.
I'd have to count. No. And how would you do a half? Dun, 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 dun. 1 to 5 lit fuses. Who would like to go first?
How do you do a half lit fuse?
It's just like that. You just said it. Half lit fuse or an unlit fuse. How about that? Like, so
you have the fuse.
2 lit fuses, 1 unlit. Be creative. You could play with matches too if you want.
I was gonna say you have the matches near it.
That would be a half. That's a half.
That's a half. Okay. Yeah.
What do you think?
I'd give it 3 lit fuses. I think.
3 out of 5 lit fuses?
Maybe 3.5. I'm inching towards the 4th one with the match.
I was doing with 3.25 lit fuses.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 lit fuses.
You're a little further away with your match.
No, 3 lit fuses, and you're looking for the matches for the 4th one. Like that's the 0.25.
Perfect.
I think it's 3.5. Unfortunately, I know where all of them are going, and I already have like a favorite.
Okay.
So
I don't. And I'm so excited.
I think it would be 3.5. So 3 full on lit fuses about to explode, and 1 kind of sparking and stuttering a bit, but getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely 3.5.
All right, cool.
Do you ever have to use a flint lighter in like high school chemistry? And like you just can't strike it right away. Yeah. That's what I have on my 4th one.
So yeah,
we did it.
That's the first episode of Missions Probable.
This is fun.
Yeah.
So that I didn't change those notes. Yeah. So we did it. That is the first Mission Impossible movie. We're going to talk about all 8 of them over the course of the next 5 months. But this is our last show
of the year. Yeah.
So any parting messages to our viewers about 2024? Good wishes.
Thanks for letting me join this year.
Oh yeah, that's right. Thanks for joining us this year.
Thanks. They're getting rid of me next year.
Carl says, Alice, I hope you like Amel and the Sniffers, but if not, I totally understand.
I'm so excited.
Noel may have the same experience with Tism. Oh, that's what I want to say. Send us more stuff. Thank you so much to Carl Carls. I cannot thank you enough for
I built
this.
my Robin.
No shade to
Christopher St. Saucy. Yeah, Christopher also sent us. We're going to review a movie that he sent us. I'm very excited to look into that. I'm specifically not, Christopher, looking into what the movie's about. I'm just going to go in blind.
Yeah, I want to go in blind to that one. Strange Darling.
What's it called?
Strange Darling.
Yeah, well, which we will. So, upcoming events. January 8th is our next episode back, and we're going to try and do Nectronic.
Yeah.
Right?
For Carl Carls,
Nectronic.
This beat is Nectronic.
As well as talk about Creature Commandos. Our next Mission Impossible is going to be January 15th.
Our
tentatively.
Mission Probable?
Sorry. Missions Probable, a cult pop event series, part 2.
Yes.
Is going to be January 15th. January 22nd, I think we're going to talk about Strange Darling as well as the Skeleton Crew. And then we'll go from there.
So you know that we're going to be doing the Mission Probables. Join us. Watch Mission Impossible 2, directed by John Woo, and then join us here to chat about it, man. There's a lot to say about that movie.
Flood the chat with your ratings of Mission Impossibles when we talk about
In
that.
terms of lit fuses, please.
I was originally going to send you an Australian vampire film called Thirst, but I wasn't sure if you had a Blu-ray player. I've already seen Thirst.
Wait.
And I do have Blu-ray player.
Wait. Australian vampire movie named Thirst? No, I'm only aware of the South Korean.
Maybe
I'm intrigued.
I saw a movie called Thirst.
Yeah, and
I do have a Blu-ray player too.
The director of Old Boy did a movie called Thirst. That's South Korean though.
Park? No.
No, it's Chakwu. Shit.
Oh, is this I'm sorry. This is a 1979 Australian horror film directed by Rod Hardy.
Chan Wook Park. Sorry.
That's what I said. What did I say? Chan Wook Park.
We said John Wook.
Nah, I said Chan.
My bad.
Nah, you're right. I probably said John. So yeah, I haven't seen Thirst. Anyway.
I want to see it.
So I mean, happy
Next
holidays,
Christmas.
everybody.
Thank you so much. Merry Christmas and all the other holidays.
Yes. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
We will see you, everybody, next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although we'll probably have a fresh floppies maybe next week.
Yeah, we're absolutely going to probably still do fresh floppies. But as for the live show, thank you both for everything. I had a really, really good year this year.
Yeah, me too. This is fun.
Next year, let's do it again.
Yeah. Let's keep living.
Let's keep going.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk at you later.
Yeah, he was going to send me Thirst.
Oh,
that was for me.
You can have a Thirst.
I have a Blu-ray player.
I have a Blu-ray player.
Yeah.
We all have Blu-ray
Thank you,
players.
Carl.
Thank you for the jumpies. Here. Oh, so close.
She falls out of her chair. She gets hit.
I'm real good at this. Oh.
Nailed it.
YUNKJunk!